completed site, so we had it looking like we want it to. Why isn't that showing up like that? Yeah, we had the site looking like this. So moving forward, we're going to implement these links, get the other pages in. So this is going to be a little bit of back end, and then I think we're going to work on videos first. So it's pretty easy. And to do that, we're going to talk about how to use APIs with JavaScript and all that good stuff. So let's get started. I'm booting up the site how it is, just npm start. And if you don't have the code, it's on GitHub. I have the code posted from where we left off last week. So go to localhost 8080. There it is. All right, so you can see we got the scroll bar. None of these links implemented yet, but we're going to do these links right now. All right. So to add another route, we do this. All right, I forgot we had a videos route. All right, so we're going to do app.get slash, let's do slash about slash project slash calendar slash videos. So I'm just going to copy this. It's about projects calendar. So about projects calendar and videos. And to do that, so we already have this videos.ejs. This is just a rickroll, but we're going to leave that. Res.render, if you don't remember, is how we point to this views folder and point to EJS, to tell EJS to render this template. And we need the rendering engine, the layout engine, because that has the header and also the footer. It saves us a lot of work on that. So I'm going to make some other pages. So we have the videos. I'm going to make the projects and about pages just by copying the videos page. So this is going to be, let's say, just say about. I'm just going to do an H1 saying what it is. It's about projects. And calendar. Okay, so then I'm going to res.render them, which again just points to the EJS. I think you guys should be pretty familiar with this. I guess if you have any questions, you could just shout them out. But we still have to implement the oh yeah, this is the home page, right? So then for the header, this is the href, so where it's pointing to, and this should be pointing to slash about slash projects slash calendar and slash videos. And since we changed this index.js, we have to stop the server and start it again to see the effects. So when we refresh the page, see that this actually points to a link. And we actually don't have the home. So I'm going to add a link onto this guy. Actually, I could just change this div to an A tag. Let's see if that works. It could be a little bit different because the display type of, oh, we changed the display flex. It should be the same. So since we modified an EJS file, we could just refresh it. That is not what we were looking for. What did I change here? Oof. This is a bug. I opened this div tag, but I didn't close it. Wow. I hope just commenting out will work. Okay, so clearly that did not.
The fuck?
At 80%. That is very weird. Do I just not need any of the other code? Display flex. What if we change it to display inline block? And add this height back in. Yeah, add this back in. Something. I might have messed this up, but this should be negative 50%, and this should be positive 50%. Oh, it has to be this position absolute. Then this has to be position relative. Okay, so that's fixed, but this is still broken. Probably because this takes up the whole. Oh. I changed the wrong thing. Yeah, this is the div. There was no bug. this was the div that goes inside of the header. So when you're making a header, you have, let's refresh. I'll just delete that. So when you're making a header, you usually have the header and then the div inside of it to kind of pad it on the left and the right. So that's what I did, and that's what I changed on accident to an A tag. Yeah, that should still be a div. This is the A tag. Yeah. And what's href is this for home. Yeah, whoops. Yeah, cool. I just made that really hard. Yeah, so just change this to an A tag, an href to slash, which is the open page. Okay, so now we have all of the routes done. The first one I wanted to do was the videos. And the idea is that normally it's just going to pull from the YouTube and display all of the videos there. So you can see all the videos from YouTube where we walk through all the, all of these meetings. It turns out that, okay, so this is where we transition from backend. That's it for the backend. Or I mean, we're going to keep on going with the backend, but that's it for routing and the routes we're going to make. What we're going to do now is talk about APIs and how to call for them, how to get from them, and stuff like that. So it turns out that Google does have an API for YouTube. And Chris actually wrote some code for that. But this is the URL that gets us what we want. I'm assuming this key is something that Chris generated. Videos is what we're getting. We want the snippets from the Code.io channel, and we get 10 results maximum. So let me paste that in the chat for everyone. So if you just go to that website, it'll send an HTTP GET request, which is all that web browsers do. They send GET requests. And that just so happens to work because we're getting videos. So an HTTP GET request is exactly what is called for in this instance. So we're essentially getting from this link this JSON response. And JSON just stands for JavaScript object notation. So I'm not sure if we've done this. Ooh, it looks like we haven't done this. So to declare an object, you would do like a let object equals, and then you could write the keys. So on and so forth. And that's what they have. So this is JSON as a response, and it's very nice because we're working with JavaScript. And if you could see, this is all of the videos. You can see there's 13 videos given as a response, but we said to only do 10 per page. So these are, I'm assuming there's 10 here. But you could see that for each item in items, this is one item. You can see it's a search result type. It has, it's a video, it has a video ID, has the published date, the channel ID, title of the video, and thumbnails. And if you look over here, so that's just a link like normal. I guess this is the thumbnail for the video. I guess this would be the biggest image. Cool. I guess that's, there's Chris. All right, so we're going to talk about how to do this programmatically and parse all of the results and put them here. I'm not sure exactly what we want to do. We could do this cool embed thing. I'm kind of leaning towards just putting the thumbnails up and then having a link that goes to YouTube. Because you could make like a kind of cool video card with a thumbnail and then the title. That'd be kind of fun. We can deal with that later because today we're going to spend on the API call. So getting this result in this JavaScript and how to display that to the screen, just some kind of meaningful result. Okay, so I'll actually go over how to do this programmatically right now. So basically, we just want to make a call over here. So we could, simulate what the web browser is doing right here by it's this cool function, and you could follow along with me. It's Command Option J to open up the console in Mac and Control Shift J on Windows. And the fetch function, so it takes a URL, so that's the URL. And then this is something called promises. So if you just do that, you see it returns a promise that's pending. Promises, so this is kind of a pretty big topic in JavaScript. It's how to avoid callback functions. But basically, to get the result, we do .then. So promises either reject or resolve, and resolve is a successful termination of the function, and rejection is a failure. So imagine something goes wrong, Google is down, YouTube's down, something like that. That would be a rejected promise. But a resolved promise would be the videos that we get, or no videos. If we don't find anything, that doesn't mean that the fetch failed. It means that the fetch went through successfully. So then we're going to do something here. We're just writing this function inline. So this is the function here. This is the result. I'm just going to console.log the result. And if we get an error, it can be done with a .catch. And it could be pretty hard to see what we're doing here, but this kind of adds a listener onto this promise right here. And this kind of adds a listener for an error. And so this function will get called if an error happens, and this function will get called if everything happens successfully. And it's important that you don't have semicolons, because this dot is meant to chain on directly at the end like this. I'm just doing it on a new line to make it look nicer. Okay, so if it rejects, it'll give us an error message, and we can do console dot okay. So this is the response, and if you just do console.warn, it's going to be a yellow thing. Kind of cool. So this is the response that we get. You can see that kind of the data that we want, the body of the message is kind of in here. It's a readable stream. So how we get that, since we know that this returns JSON, we can do, so we have this function .then, and we can do just a return res.json. This is a function that will return another promise, and this will be chained again with .then. And this will be the actual value that we'll be working with. So if I console.log this result, you see that we get this stuff. You see the E tag, the E tags are different request to request. So see, this E tag is different from this. The kind is the same. The items, these are the videos. Next page token. I'm not sure what that is. But yeah, this is kind of how we'll be using promises. Does anyone have any questions about this? Because I know promises are a very difficult thing to get your head around in JavaScript. And I'm sure I didn't explain it. I didn't answer everybody's questions that they might have about promises. So does anyone have any questions about this code, what it does right here? Everyone's good? All right. So this is kind of what we're going to be implementing on the back end. So basically we send a request to videos, and that runs this code over here. And we're kind of gonna just paste this right here. We're kind of just gonna run this stuff. And when we get, I don't wanna, I'm gonna call this videos to distinguish it from res, which is the, I'm gonna call this video stream. So this res is the result of this get request, but this res was the result of this fetch. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to get the videos and then res.render inside of here, videos, and then pass in videos. That's kind of the idea. I think we want to do, what do we want to do? Videos.items. Maybe it's kind of poor naming on my part, but this is kind of more of a result of the query than the videos. And actually, there's a way that, so there's an alternative to functions. So we call a function, we can create a function like this. I'll actually do something cool. So this actually executes the function as soon as it's created. So you can see it returns 3. And if you want me to space it out, it's kind of like that, where we surround it in parentheses. So we're declaring a function and then we're running it. So it returns 3. But an alternative to that is this, which is much cleaner and simpler. We don't have to say function. Instead, this is what's called an arrow function. So we can have an arrow function with brackets like normal, and then say return, and it works like normal. Or we can remove the return statement and the brackets if it's just one statement, and that statement should be the return value. So this is called an arrow function in JavaScript. It's very cool for running easy lines of code, very quick lines of code. And if you put your parameters in here, so x, y, x plus y, say 5 and 7. And I'm actually going to maybe complicate, but it makes it look nicer by changing this to an arrow function. So I'm going to call videostream.json. I have an S here. So that changes it to one line. I quite like that. I'm going to do that here as well. So you might notice that this returns res.render. It really doesn't matter if it returns or it doesn't. It's kind of like what matters that we care about. So if we do, return console.log hi, the return value is going to be undefined, but it's still going to print hi, and that's what we care about. So that's kind of what's going on here. And the same thing here. Does anyone have any questions about these arrow functions? Because this is some high-level JavaScript. And this kind of looks nothing like what we had before. It definitely takes some getting used to get comfortable with these arrow functions. I think at least.
Yeah, I've seen this once on Code Academy, but I didn't retain it. So I'm just looking at this. So is it this saying that if there is an error, it'll place an error in the console?
Yeah. So the great thing about catches, so we have two different promises, if you'll remember. So this fetch returns a promise, and then we run this. If this promise works out well, if it resolves, and we get this video stream, and we return videostream.json, which returns another promise. And this is what we do after that promise resolves. If either of these two promises reject, it'll be caught with this .catch because it's all chained together. Because what what this does, or what fetch does, and what .then and .catch do, is they return a promise. So we could actually do let promise equals, this whole thing, and this will be the promise. And I know it's pretty complicated, but this is kind of how it's done in JavaScript. There's an alternative called async await, where you could do async function get videos, and you kind of do let video stream equals await fetch, and this will if it resolves, then video stream will be the what it normally is, and then we do let videos equals await video stream.json. Then we have the videos, just like normal. The only difference is that await, as far as I'm aware, has no catch statement. So if something went wrong, we don't know. So this is another way to write it, and async await is another way to use promises that's very popular in JavaScript. But yeah, this is pretty much how promises work. I feel like promises are definitely the harder thing than arrow functions, but you just kind of have to trust that this works, I suppose. Because it's a very difficult concept, and we'll see it popping up again and again as we go over this in backend, as we do different API calls, because this is the way to do API calls. Oh, I forgot to say, fetch is a function on the front end. So on browsers, fetch is a function. But this is the back end, and Node.js does not have a fetch function by default. So there's actually this great npm module, npm node fetch, and the module is called node fetch. And have we gone over using modules? No. Yeah, we have, because Express is a module. So it works like this. We just do const fetch equals require node fetch function. Let me make sure that's how it's used. Yep. So we have to, npm install node fetch. Don't forget to run this, otherwise it'll say that you're missing node fetch, and you would be. Cool. It should be in package.json. We're using this in place of Axios, so you could delete Axios if you want. Axios is an older library that went with jQuery. I like node fetch because it has the exact same semantics as fetch on the front end. So that's that. I suppose I'll ask one last time, are there any questions on this? Because now we're going to go on to this part where we write EJS on the front end. So we pass this videos the items. Actually, make sure. Cool. So I should be able to start again. Yeah. Let's go over to videos to execute the code. Cool, nothing crashed. So it probably worked. Okay, so now we have to go over how we're going to do this in EJS. I should kind of mention that EJS isn't executed on the front end or the back end. I mean, it's executed technically on the back end, but we don't have access to things like Express. We don't have access to things like fetch. So we can write any type of JavaScript we want, and it'll be executed as JavaScript in this kind of limbo between front end and back end. So since we have these videos given to us, so this is a variable right here, we can go for let I equal 0, I is less. Well, let's just do videos dot for each. Oh, I'm going to use another arrow function here. So the crazy thing about EJS is that, actually, I'm not sure if this will work. Let's do paragraph. So this loops through every video. And for every video, it's going to create this paragraph right here. And I want it to do video dot to display on the screen. What was it? So we have all these items. We have the kind. Sure, dot snippet dot title. So let's do that. Dot snippet dot title. Okay, so we should see all of the titles of the videos if I did this right. Unexpected token, end parenthesis, while compiling EJS. Maybe EJS can't do these for each loops. Because it's a different scope. Yeah, I'm sorry if I confused you. I'm just going to write a regular for loop. So we're just going to have an end, starting bracket and ending bracket like normal. So it would be videos I.snippet.title. So we're pulling from the array videos. Well, I actually didn't have to restart the server, but I anyways. Let's make it to an end parenthesis. Huh. There really is somewhere in here. I'm guessing maybe they changed something up. Oh, I guess they don't expect me to. It's percent equals without the ending equal sign. I don't think that'll change anything, though. If user, then yeah, they don't have it. Oh, they do have for each. What am I doing wrong? Wow. What did I do? Was it the semicolon? Do I need a semicolon? No. Maybe it was the arrow functions. I feel like it was the arrow function. You can do arrow functions. Let's try changing it back to an arrow function. What? No way. Well, all the video titles, these are all the video titles that we have, at least 10 of them. If you remember, the thing limiting us was the, I want to get rid of this iframe because it's slowing the page down. The thing that was, yes, the max result is 10. So if we change a few more videos, ends on front day 3, starts at back in day 1. Maybe this is all the videos. I don't know. Anyways, that's all I wanted to do today. I hope it wasn't too much with functions, with promises and the arrow functions and this weird thing. Any last questions? All right. Well, if there's no questions, like I said, that was all I wanted to do today. I'm committing this right now, so you can see it on GitHub. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Oh,
Sure, everyone. Bye, guys. See you, Steven.
See you guys.
see ya.